This is part 3 of the Subnautica Species Analyzer video series, and I really only did 2 videos this time, and then I went off camera and I pretty much finished it up just because I've got some other work that I need to do, and things are piling up and busy at home, so I just wanted to get it done, and I'm going to show it to you, but I want to talk about a couple of things that I have done. Now here you're going to see a render. I'll be showing you that more in a bit, but you can see this glow around the glass. So I wanted to talk a little bit about how I did that in case you want to experiment with that. So here I've got the Principal BSDF, and this has got just the usual maps that I used, for example, when I was in Substance Painter and I created the glass. So I've got this, and I've also got this regular glass opacity. And this is connected through a mix shader, and I've got a transparent BSDF going in, and then the rest of the pathway. So we've got our usual stuff. To do the glow, this is what you need. I've got a mix shader in the pathway here, and I've got an emission, and you can set that emission to whatever color, whatever strength. As you can see, I've got a sort of a blue glow around the glass. Otherwise, it looks very clear and transparent, and it's kind of hard to make out the edges. And so what you do is you use a layer weight. All right, I believe that's under Shift-A input, and you search for layer weight. Take the layer weight and take the facing output, plug that into the FAC of a color ramp, and you can use this to sort of crunch down the size of that outer glow, that outer emission. Play around with the blend. I've got a value here of 0.03. That just happened to work best for me. Plug that into the FAC of this mix shader with the emission, and then carry on in your chain if there's anything else you need. So for example, I need this glass opacity and this transparent going in here. All right, so regardless of this stuff here, you could use this on pretty much any model and you will get an outer glow. So experiment with different colors. So that's one thing that I did that was a little bit out of the ordinary of what I would normally do. All right, and this was in Eevee, all right, and it should work in cycles as well. The other thing that I did is I used some particle effects to create this kind of alien tentacle-like thing. All right, and so what I did was I set up a particle system using hair, and I won't get into the values because there are a lot of good hair tutorials out there. But what I did is I took the hair info node, and I came out of random into a color ramp and sort of crunched down these values a little bit into a mix shader, and that's going into the FAC. And then I could even without this part, I could just have 2 different colors and bring that into the diffuse. And I've got a diffuse and a glossy here, and you can just experiment with the values there into a mix shader, and that would give you some difference in color, so the dark green, light green stuff. I also came out of the intercept, I believe it is, into another color ramp where I defined some colors. That went into color 1, and that also gave me some variation as well. So if you're interested in that kind of a thing, to create some alien creatures or plants that would be hard to model, you can look for various particle system or hair particle system tutorials, and then apply it to something like this as opposed to hair. Okay, so those are the 2 main things I wanted to talk to you about, and now I'm going to show you the renders. I was going to do this in Unity, as I said in my last vlog, but then realized that in isolation, just this thing, it really didn't look good. I wasn't going to put it with that skybox and over a terrain. It just, you know, without an environment, without some enclosure, it wasn't really going to do what I needed it to do. So I decided I would just render in Blender. So, of course, this was all modeled in Blender. It was textured in Substance Painter. It's not exactly like it is in Alien Isolation. This is just my interpretation of it. It was rendered in Eevee. And as far as the discussion about Eevee versus cycles, a lot of people talk about cycles being more accurate and more realistic. And to tell you the truth, that's almost the exact opposite of what I'm going for here. I prefer the cartoon or unrealistic kind of look because it gets, in my mind, closer to a video game kind of look. I'm not talking about really high quality games that are very realistic, but you know that's the kind of look that I prefer actually, and I find Eevee very easy to work with and very quick, and I'm not worried about whether or not the shadows look realistic, because I'm not making realistic renders. I'm not doing like an interior dining room scene or some product, whatever. I'm doing sort of fantasy things. So Eevee works well for me. And I did some post-processing in Topaz Studio. As far as this render goes, though, you can see the glow around the glass. We talked about that. You can see the hair particle system. We talked about that. And I decided, just for the heck of it, I would put the freestyle edges, and I changed the color to white just because it would make it stand out or look a little bit more cartoony. All right, so in the videos, I showed you the modeling of the arm section here, and we had the globe, the track, and this thing that I had called the computer. I just went on and I did a few more things. All right, so there's render one. Here's a render from the front of it. There's really not too many angles that I can show you, just from the other side. And yeah, and here's the last one, which is the one that you saw in the previews. So that is my addition to the Subnautica theme of stuff that I've already done on the channel, and I'm sure I will be back. But in the meantime, I have some other work that I need to do, but I will also be working on some Blender stuff on the side. So we're going to call this one done, and we're going to move on to other things. So I really appreciate you coming by here and checking out the stuff. And if Subnautica or this style of modeling is not your thing, then hopefully there's some other sci-fi or realistic or Western town kind of stuff on the channel that you are interested in. All right, so I will be back with new videos and new modeling and texturing very soon. Thanks for coming by. Hope you'll subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and we'll see you again soon.